David McCallum's life was a remarkable tapestry of music, talent, heartbreak, and quiet strength, and at the center of one of Hollywood's most personal betrayals. Born David Keith McCallum on September 19, 1933, in Glasgow, Scotland, he grew up in a household where artistry was as essential as air. His father, David McCallum Sr., was a celebrated violinist and conductor with the London Philharmonic Orchestra, while his mother, Dorothy Dorman, was a gifted cellist. Surrounded by this world of melody, young David was immersed in the language of music from his earliest days, which gave him a lifelong love for creativity and precision. He initially trained in classical music, studying at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music, but fate guided him to the stage, and he later enrolled at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, refining the craft that would make him an international star. In the 1950s, he began his career in British cinema, taking on small yet striking roles in films like Ill Met by Moonlight, 1957, and Hell Drivers of 1957, where his intensity on screen caught the attention of filmmakers on both sides of the Atlantic. His big breakthrough came in 1963 with The Great Escape, where he appeared alongside icons such as Steve McQueen, James Garner, and Richard Attenborough. Playing Lieutenant Eric Ashley Pitt, the quietly clever dispersal officer, McCallum brought subtlety and intelligence to the role, hinting at the depth that would define his career. But it was television that truly turned him into a household name. In 1964, McCallum was cast as Ilya Kuryakin, the enigmatic Russian agent in The Man from UNC, which aired during the Cold War and broke new ground by pairing an American agent, Napoleon Solo, Robert Vaughn, with a Russian partner. McCallum's cool, understated charm and striking blonde features turned him into a global phenomenon. Teen magazines couldn't print his face fast enough. Fan mail poured in by the thousands each week, and his portrayal of Ilya Kuryakin made him one of the defining TV figures of the 1960s. Even after the series ended in 1968, McCallum enjoyed a long and diverse career across television, stage, and film. He appeared in projects such as Colditz, 1972-74, and the cult sci-fi classic Sapphire and Steel, a 1979-82, with Joanna Lumley, where his sharp intellect and quiet gravity added depth to every scene. Beyond acting, he embraced his musical roots, releasing instrumental albums with Capitol Records during the 1960s, blending classical sophistication with contemporary rhythms in works like Music, A Part of Me and Music, A Bit More of Me. Decades later, hip-hop producers rediscovered his tracks, with The Edge famously sampled by Dr. Dre in the hit The Next Episode, unexpectedly linking McCallum's legacy to modern music. Later generations would come to know him best as Dr. Donald Ducky Mallard on NCIS, 2003-2023. As the eccentric, brilliant chief medical examiner, he brought warmth, wit, and heart to over 450 episodes, becoming one of the show's longest-running cast members and beloved by millions of viewers across the world. While his career soared, his personal life followed a more complicated path. On May 11, 1957, David married actress Jill Ireland after meeting her on the set of Hell Drivers. Their bond grew naturally during long days on set and shared artistic ambitions, and soon they became one of Hollywood's golden young couples. Their marriage produced 3 sons, including Valentine McCallum, and for nearly a decade, they built a family amid the chaos of fame. But like many Hollywood unions, theirs was tested by relentless travel, demanding schedules and the temptations of the film world. By the mid-1960s, cracks had begun to show. McCallum's career exploded with his role in The Man from UNC, which required grueling hours and constant travel, while Jill's career increasingly placed her alongside tough male leads, one of whom was American actor Charles Bronson. McCallum and Bronson met on the set of The Great Escape in 1963. The two men developed a genuine friendship, forged through shared meals, conversations about their craft, and the intense camaraderie of working on a major war film together. McCallum admired Bronson's talent and rugged presence, trusting him as both a colleague and a friend. He even welcomed Bronson into his family's life, encouraging Jill to get to know him, believing their friendship was grounded in loyalty. But as time passed, Jill and Charles grew closer, and what began as friendship evolved into a romance that would ultimately end David's marriage. Jill left McCallum to be with Bronson, and their marriage legally ended in February 1967 after almost 10 years together. She would go on to marry Bronson in 1968, forming one of Hollywood's most famous couples of that era. For David, the betrayal was profound. Not only did he lose his wife, but he also lost her to a man he had called a friend. Reflecting years later, he admitted, "I was shattered. You don't expect your best friend to become your wife's lover." Though he maintained dignity in public, privately the pain ran deep. His friendship with Bronson had cost him everything that mattered most at the time: his marriage, his family life, and his trust. Yet, remarkably, David chose not to let bitterness define him. Instead of indulging in resentment, he focused on raising his children and continuing his career. He later said, "I never hated Charlie. It would have been pointless." His children often spent time with Jill and Bronson after the separation, and David made sure they felt loved and secure despite the adult turmoil. His emotional maturity stood out in a town that often thrives on drama. Later that same year, on September 16, 1967, he married Catherine Carpenter, a former model turned interior designer. Their relationship began at a Glamour magazine photo shoot in 1965 and grew into a partnership that would endure for 58 years, lasting until his death in 2023. Together, they raised a son and daughter, built a stable home life, and supported countless charitable causes. Through Hollywood's highs and lows, Catherine stood beside him, a quiet anchor in his stormy world. David McCallum's story is not only one of extraordinary professional achievement, but also one of personal resilience. He lost his first marriage in one of Hollywood's most dramatic love triangles, a friendship with Charles Bronson that turned into heartbreak. Yet, he never allowed that chapter to define him. Instead, he rebuilt his life, forged a lasting marriage, raised his children with grace, and continued creating work that spanned generations. His legacy stretched from the classical concert halls of his childhood to the Cold War intrigue of 1960s television, from iconic Hollywood films to modern hip-hop tracks, and finally to 2 decades of beloved television on NCIS. David McCallum passed away on September 25, 2023, at the age of 90, at New York Presbyterian Hospital. In a poignant twist, his death came on the same day CBS aired a special 20th anniversary marathon of NCIS, introducing new audiences to the character that had made him a household name once again. His life reminds us that success is not defined by the betrayals we endure, but by the grace with which we rise above them.